Made a video some time ago when a lot of people on the right wing, in the left wing media, were talking about, they're getting all excited about the Epstein files and Trump is in trouble and blah, blah, blah. And, I called it out and I said that it's over. The Epstein files are never coming out. He has officially gotten away. I was one of the first people saying that it's over. This was the time where everybody was talking about it. Left-wing guys, all the David Pack were making videos, and I said, guys, it's been over. We're not getting the files. Right? And here we are. Here we are. Now Trump's deploying the military. That's all everybody's talking about. And every once in a while we get a little, oh, this and that, and oh, some little thing, and such and such, and Pam Bondi, she got viral because she looks guilty. If you're a conservative and you genuinely care about the Epstein files and you generally care that these predators who assaulted the children see justice, if that is what you really want, I'm going to tell you how to get it. I'm going to tell you the only way that you can get it. And I want to let you know that right now we're on a path where these predators get away completely scot-free, right? And if you're sensitive, I just probably stop the video right now. I'm not gonna mince words. I'm not gonna soften it for you. I'm gonna be very raw and honest. The only reason that the Epstein predators are going to get away, if on our current path, is because of you. The American conservatives are, by and large, accomplices to one of the major cover-ups that we've ever seen in American history. This is a fact of the matter. Again, I'm not gonna make this soft. I'm gonna tell you straight up, right? Like how they say passed away instead of saying died. I'm gonna say died. The reason that these predators are most likely going to get away is because of the American conservatives. You guys are enabling the cover-up to protect sick men and elites, whether they're Democrats, because I'm not a Democrat, never been a Democrat, probably never will be a Democrat. Definitely not a Republican either. Whether they're Democrats like Clinton, who ironically is being protected by Trump right now. I'm going to say it again. Bill Clinton, who's probably a very sick guy who probably was engaged in some of this stuff, is being protected by Donald Trump. The man who I believe still has a picture of him and Bill Clinton in his house, right? But you guys believe the bullshit, right? Frauds like Trump and his administration and these other politicians and elites, you really believe them when they lie to you, right? Bill Clinton and Trump, the people who are in the same social circle. I always forget who went to whose wedding, right? Either Trump was at Clinton's wedding or Clinton was at Trump's wedding. They golfed together. Who knows? They have gotten massages by underage girls together. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I wouldn't be surprised. Trump is protecting Bill Clinton from seeing justice. If in fact he did something, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Here's the raw truth. The reason that these predators are going to get away is because The party in power is the Republican Party. And the Republican Party, just like most politicians, regardless of which party they're in, because Democrats, same thing. They're not the same literally. I don't want to be a both sides person. The Republican Party is by far more corrupt than the Democratic Party. But regardless, politicians in general, with few exceptions, care about one thing: power and money. There's a stupid thing that you hear in liberal media. I've always called it out. An audience of one. They always talk about people doing something for an audience of one, referring to Trump. So, some Republican politician is doing something crazy, and it's for an audience of one. That's bullshit. Again, I'm going to tell you the raw truth. Right? I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here trying to get clicks. I'm here trying to be famous. I don't need no validation. I'll tell you like it is. The Republicans do not give a fuck about Donald Trump. They don't care about Donald Trump. I think most, if not all of them, don't have any fear of Donald Trump. And it's very ironic how, and this is a both sides thing, people on the left and the right don't realize how much power they have. I'm going to say it loud so you guys can hear. No one has more power in this country than we, the people of the United States of America. No one has more power than we, the people of the United States of America. And to the bullshitters like the Young Turks who keep talking about we don't have a democracy, if we had a democracy, listen, we have a democracy, and our democracy is very strong. The problem is, and the analogy that I always give, is democracy is a loaded gun, right? Democracy is a loaded gun. Whatever it is that is bad in this country that you have an issue with, imagine that being a black bear that is running towards you, right? Whatever it is, whether it's healthcare, whether it's housing cost, whatever it is, that's the black bear that's running to devour you. Democracy is this big ass elephant gun, double barrel elephant gun, right? And you can easily take out the black bear. Again, black bear being whatever it is in this country that you think is wrong. The problem is what most Americans do is they put bullets in the gun and then have the gun aiming at the ground, and they're standing around waiting for the gun to do something as the bear approaches. You got this big ass gun. You put the bullets in, that's voting, right? Voting is loading the gun, right? When you vote, that's what you're doing. That's only the first step. But for most Americans, that is the last step. They vote for a politician, then they go home and they complain on Twitter. They don't put no pressure on the politicians. They don't hold them accountable. They're not willing to vote them out, with few exceptions, and those exceptions are usually Republicans, ironically. Republican voters are the ones who have tapped into most of their power. That audience of one bullshit that you hear in liberal media, the actual truth is that is the Republican voters tapping into the same power that we all have. What do I mean by that? The Republican Party does not give a fuck about Donald Trump. What the Republican Party cares about, again, is power and money. Where do they get their power and money from? Not fucking Donald Trump. They get it from us. We vote them into power. All that insider trading, whatever schemes they're doing to make themselves rich, we are the ones who are the source of that power and that money. Without our votes, they can't do any of that. If all of the major Republicans are unable to get enough votes, the next election, they're done. Of course, they're going to go in the private sector and they're going to make money there. But as far as this power and money that they got from the government, It is us who gives it to them, and it's us who can take it from them. But all we do, most Americans, we hold this democracy gun aimed at the ground. Most of us don't even put the bullets in, right? That's another thing. Most don't even put the bullets in. Those who actually engage, at least to try to use this powerful weapon called democracy, those people are only putting the bullets in, and then they stand there with the barrel aiming down, and their bears are pushing like, oh, this stupid gun, oh, we don't really have a democracy, this thing doesn't work. Democracy is not automatic, it's self-service. The only thing you get in a democracy ever is exactly whatever it is that you demand and force your government to deliver. We set the standards. Everything that Trump is doing, he's doing it because the Republican Party overall still is extremely competitive for elections. They are comfortable. They will win their elections, and as long as they know they can win their elections, which means power and money, they can do whatever they want to do. Whenever they feel afraid that they might lose elections, that is when, and when I say lose, I'm talking about major losses where key Republicans in deep red states are threatened. That is when they'll change course. So that being said, the reason why the Epstein files are probably being destroyed and these predators will get away is because you, the American conservatives, are not willing to take action. So I'm going to make this video. I'm going to give you guys the power to prove what you're all about. If you really care about the Epstein files and you really care about justice being served for these predators, this is what you have to do. If you don't do it, then we'll know for a fact that you don't actually care about the kids and you're okay enabling this cover-up. This is what you do. If you really care about the Epstein files, the reason why they're not being released is because the Republican Party sees that they are safe. They hear the noise and people saying stuff, but the polls show that Trump has an 80% approval rating. Who else tells you guys the truth? Right? You watch all left-wing media, all they're talking about is Trump is falling apart and he's the most unpopular and he's losing support or whatever. Meanwhile, Trump is at an 80% approval rating. Now, obviously, I'm talking about with Republican voters, but that's all that matters, right? The rest of the country never liked him. I mean, maybe you got some independent voters and some other people to kind of like, oh, well, I don't know, and the economy, and I don't know about the Democrats and whatever. But I think most of those people don't like Trump or the Republican Party. They just was kind of like in the middle, and with enough propaganda, they were like, oh, let me vote for Trump, right? It was always only the Trump base, the Republican voters, hardcore Republican voters. Those are the only people that support Trump, really, right? So Trump was always extremely unpopular with the rest of the country, definitely with Democratic voters, right? So all they're doing is they're reporting on what everybody else thinks about Trump. Yes, his polling is going down. Yeah, but these people are irrelevant. This is not his base. 80% support with his base, right? So the reason that the Epstein files are being covered up is because Trump is at an 80% approval rating, and the Republicans in general are still very competitive, even for the midterms. And everything that's happening with the military in the streets and all whatever, and somehow the files not getting released, they feel comfortable that they can still win elections. If you want the Epstein files to come out and you want these predators to see justice, you need to make the Republican Party know that if they don't deliver, that you're going to vote them out of office. And if you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is and hold these politicians accountable, and don't wait and wait and wait, like I'm telling you, it's not happening. It is not happening. They're not putting out the files. You know what they're going to do? There is tons and tons, truckloads and truckloads of information in these files, right? You guys are giving them a lot of time to selectively take little bits and pieces that don't expose Trump, don't expose Trump's allies, don't expose people they don't want to expose, right? Like they've done this before. They've done this so many, like how many times do they have to keep doing this before you guys realize they're not going to release these files unless you force them to, right? So yes, they're going to be releasing stuff. And I hear they talking about stuff again. They release stuff that they already released before, or it's heavily redacted, or it's going to be stuff that you didn't ask for, like they're trying to get the grand jury testimony. You see bullshit like that. They have truckloads of stuff that would expose these predators. And then when you conservatives say you want the files, they say, oh, okay, we'll try to get these other files. And then the fact that you guys are just like, oh, okay, well, let's see how it plays out. Instead of just just an uproar of just like, what the fuck? Do you guys think we're stupid? We want the truckload of files, not the whatever. Like protests, slamming these guys' phones with phone calls. You remember how you acted when you thought the election was being stolen? All the noise that you made, and when you saw Republicans that were not willing to like go after the stolen election stuff, and you said, we're not going to vote for you, right? That's the kind of stuff that will get the Republican Party to listen to you, right? I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to make myself very clear. Until a good percentage of Republican leadership becomes terrified that they can't win their next elections, there's no chance that the Epstein files are going to come out. You're going to get bullshit. You're going to get redacted stuff. You're going to get stuff that was already released before. You're going to get stuff that doesn't expose. Like, for example, they were talking to Pam Bondi, and they have hundreds and hundreds of suspicious activity reports, right, connected to Epstein. Pam Bondi apparently hasn't investigated any of them. It couldn't be more clear that Donald Trump, not Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, he's the one running the show. He's the boss. Pam Bondi's only doing what she's been told to do, because Trump is running the entire government, Congress, his cabinet. He's doing everything by executive order. He is ruling like a king. So anything that you see happening in the government, it's all on Trump. If she's not even willing to investigate the suspicious activity reports, and then when you ask her, have you seen pictures of Trump with girls on his lap or something like that, and she freezes up and she's like, and even the way when they ask her, like, you guys claim you want the Epstein files, and you have people in this hearing pushing for answers, and all she's doing is stonewalling and making jokes, and she's attacking them. Like, they ask her a simple question. Hey, what happened to those files on your desk? And then she's like, well, you did something 10 years ago and blah, 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 blah. She's spitting in all of you guys' faces. And the reason that she's doing that is because she sees that you guys don't really care. That's what I think it is. I think you guys don't really care. But just in case I'm wrong, I'm letting you know what the problem is. You've got to threaten these people in the way that the only thing they care about. They don't care about nothing else except power and money. If you make them feel threatened electorally, that they're going to lose elections, you will see some things happening. Now, obviously, some of these Republican politicians are implicated. So no matter what you do, it's like, okay, but if I release these files, I'm going to be in trouble. So it's a problem. However, there's more than a few Republicans who are not directly implicated, right? They are just going along with the party because if you don't, King Trump is going to, come after you, and then you might lose your next election. And again, it's all about power and money. However, as I stated, these politicians don't give a fuck about Trump. All they care about is you. And I don't mean in a good way, like they're worried about your safety or whatever. They're worried about whether you're going to vote for them. So, here's the deal. If you like what Trump is doing with the border, if you like the anti-woke stuff and the shutting down of the DEI and, getting immigrants out, whatever it is that they're doing right now, whatever Trump is doing you like, if you like that stuff, you can have all of that stuff without Trump. Trump is the one that's covering up the Epstein files. If you really want the Epstein files, you need to go after the Republican Party such that they realize that you actually are serious, that you weren't before, but now you're serious. Now you are actually prepared. You're not just talking. You're actually prepared to vote these people out of office. What's going to happen then is a bunch of Republicans who are not directly tied to Epstein will get the courage all of a sudden to step up and stand out. Like, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about, not to give her any props, but talking about the healthcare thing and the government shutdown, right? There'll be a whole bunch of them that, because all they care about is winning in elections. If they see that massively, their bases, like, so I'm in Louisiana, and my Louisiana voters are like, you need to get these Epstein files, and I see that they're really serious, right? If I'm not directly implicated, I'm going to be empowered because these are my voters saying that they want this. So who gives a fuck about Trump? What's Trump going to do? If my voters say they want the Epstein files and they're really serious about it, Trump's going to attack me and get those same people who are pushing me to get the files to go after me for trying to get the files that they wanted? No, that's not how it works. Right? The ip is, if you are a Republican and you just have some ethics and you decide to, on your own, I'm going to push for these Epstein files and I'm going to push Trump on these Epstein files, and you do that on your own, then yes, Trump can go after your base and then you can lose elections. But if it's your base that is angry and telling you, listen, you need to make this right, otherwise we're not going to vote for you, right? If it's your base that's pushing you to do it, there's nothing Trump could do to you. Trump's power comes from the fact that he pulls the string of the base. If you guys disconnect those strings and act like independent people and push your politicians, like demand that you want these files out, that will empower your politicians to go and take action, right? When they need to vote for files to be released, they'll have the numbers. I'm telling you, there's enough people in the Republican Party who are not directly tied to this who will stand up as long as their voters empower them to do so. But as long as they see that you guys are just talk, like if you're not willing to vote these people out of office, then you just talk and you're not really serious. You don't really care. You're just making noise online. And if you're just making noise online, then they could just keep playing games with you. Oh yeah, we're getting the files coming out and this, and we're gonna try to get a grand jury, this and that. And it's like truckloads of Epstein files. You have them. There's nothing stopping you from releasing them right now. You don't need a court order. You don't need no subpoenas. You don't need to talk to a judge. You have the stuff. And then every time people are asking, like, where's the files? You're talking about, oh, the grand jury stuff and this other stuff. And we're doing subpoenas over here. The truckload of stuff you guys already have. They can release it yesterday. But it's never going to happen. As long as American conservatives continue to be accomplices in one of the most disgusting cover-ups in this American history. You guys completely own this. Especially the ones who talk about why the Democrats weren't pushing for this when they were in power. Because the people that are doing this cover-up, they want to do everything else but release those files. So one of their tricks is, oh, the Democrats are using this for... So if the people involved in a cover-up want to talk about why the Democrats weren't interested, and then you're doing the same thing, you're helping them to cover it up. That's what you're doing. That whole talking point is a deflection. Who the fuck cares what the Democrats did when they're in power? The Republicans are in power now. When the Democrats were in power, Epstein files were left alone, right? The truckload of files were there. Now that Trump is in power, what do you think they're doing all this time? They have this stuff. What do you think they're doing? They're not releasing it. So what you think they're doing with it? I've told you the truth, so you can't pretend like you didn't know. You need to threaten these people and be serious about it to vote them out of office. If they don't release these files yesterday, don't give them no more time. They don't need more time. They have the files. They have the files. And they're gonna come with excuses about, oh, we gotta redact stuff or whatever. But know that that's bullshit, because they haven't, and I can't even say, I'm saying like they haven't even been attempting. There's nothing to attempt to. They have the files, just release them. The fact that every time they talk about files, they talk about some other files, the grand jury, whatever, that shows that they're just blocking it. They don't want to release it for some reason. So if you can get them in a dialogue about releasing those truckloads of files, don't listen. If you corner them, I'm guaranteeing you they're gonna start with new excuses. But it's like, wait a minute, you had all this time, you have all these resources. We were told you had thousands of agents combing through looking for Trump's name. If you can do that, by now you could have had everything ready to be released. No excuses. We don't want to hear no excuses. Release them now. And if you can't release them now, appoint an independent commission, a bipartisan independent commission to handle it. If you can't get it done, get somebody that does. And if you don't, we're voting you out. Then and only then will the Epstein files come out. So I've told you what to do. Now we're going to see if you do it, or you continue to talk about why the Democrats didn't do it when they were in power. As if anybody gives a fuck about those weak-ass bullshit Democrats. You know what to do to get the files out. You know what to do to get those predators to see justice. If you don't do it, then definitively you don't care about the kids, you don't care about the Epstein files, and you're okay protecting pedophiles. That's not gonna be me putting that on you. That's gonna be you putting it on you. If you know how to get the files out and you don't do what it takes, then necessarily you support the cover-up. So don't insult the rest of the country's intelligence and gaslight us and bullshit us and pretend like that's not the case. You want the files, you know what to do. Get it done. If you don't get it done, then you don't want the files out and you're okay with the predators escaping. Tell me where I lied. What's up, Jock? Just got here. I guess I can do a quick, I'm gonna jump off the live, but I can give you a quick, for one of my best subscribers, I can give you a quick synopsis. Notice how YouTube was playing with me. YouTube was toying with me a few months ago, and I started doing live streams, and I had like, I know I had over 500 people watching. I think I had in the thousands. But I know by the time the live stream was done, I had like 20,000 views. That happened like maybe 4 or 5 times. I don't know what they were doing. But now we're back to usual, one person. But anyway, that's YouTube. But that's to tell you, for anyone that doubts my authenticity, who else on YouTube would see that happening and would not fully capitalize on it? Would not like, oh, something's happening, and now every day they're making a video, and maybe like, oh, it's when I make a video that says Trump something, and then you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here looking for views. I'm not here looking for attention. I'm not here trying to make money. I'm not trying to build a business, right? Did I think about, can I do something with this? Sure. But it just wasn't that big of a priority. right? It just wasn't that big of a priority. Of course, if I have an opportunity to grow my channel, I'm going to take it. But again, I'm not here as like a YouTuber, right? That's not what I'm here to get people to unplug. Like this stuff that I talk about, it really matters to me, right? I'm not here trying to generate content. I know that's what I'm literally doing, but that's not my thing as a content creator, right? Anyway, in summary, I put 100% of the blame for why the Epstein files will never come out on the current path, while the Epstein files will never come out, why the predators will escape justice. I put 100% of the blame on American conservatives. I'm not gonna dance around and treat these people like children. I'm gonna treat them like adults, right? We're not talking about such and such passed away. I'm saying such and such is dead, right? We're gonna talk like adults. I'm gonna treat you like adults. 100% of the blame for why these predators will escape is on American conservatives. I'll tell you why. The Republican Party is in full power. They have all the files. They could release the files right now. They don't need judges and subpoenas and all this stuff. All the bullshit they're playing around, they don't need none of that stuff. They have the files. They have truckloads of files. They can release them right now. No one is stopping them but them. But every time we talk about files, they want to talk about something else. Truckload of files, release those files. Oh, okay, let's do the grand jury stuff. But the grand jury stuff is not going to have the predator stuff that we need, right? Release the truckload of files. Oh, we have subpoenas in New York and subpoenas. You don't need fucking subpoenas for the files that you already have. They have the files. They can release them right now. The fact that they keep talking about other stuff and then they'll release files that they already released before or heavily redacted. This tells you 100% that the Republican Party is covering up for Epstein right now. The Republican Party essentially is covering up for sexual predators. That is what they're doing factually. But what is enabling them to do this is the American conservatives. Politicians in this country only care about power and money, with exceptions. But generally speaking, they only care about power and money. So the Republican Party right now does not feel that they need to release the files. They feel confident that they can win elections. This is how it works. And the people act like it's it's not complicated at all. Up until the Republicans feel threatened that they're going to lose elections. And when I talk about lose elections, I'm talking about, imagine if 30% of the top Republicans were at big risk of losing their next elections. I guarantee you it will be a different story. But right now, they are competitive for the midterms. Right now, the Republican Party, with all the stuff that's been happening, they can win, which is why there's no incentive to release these files. Why would you? Right? The incentive is help Trump to cover it up, because you don't want to go against Trump, because if you go against Trump, Trump will attack you and then you could lose an election. But here's the way that you can get the files out. The minute that the Republicans feel like they're going to lose an election if they don't release these files is when the files come out. Yes, some of these Republicans will never flip because they are implicated. But I guarantee you, because I'm not some partisan here who's just going to look at the entire Republican Party, that they're all like Epstein, whatever. No, I'm sure there's a ton of Republicans who are not implicated directly. The only reason that they're not saying anything is because power and money. Trump is covering this up. If they go against Trump, it can threaten their careers. So until their base makes it clear that we want you to get those files, and if you don't get the files, we're going to vote you out, they're going to toe the line. They're going to go along with the party. But these people can flip very quickly. I'm going to tell you right now, the Republicans don't care about Trump. They don't give a fuck about Trump. It's not this audience of one that liberal media tells that's bullshit. It's not an audience of one. It's an audience of millions. The Republican Party cares about their base. They don't give a fuck about Trump. The problem is that Trump pulls the strings of the base. But ultimately, it's the base they care about. If the base turns on Trump, Republicans will turn on Trump. So if you, in Louisiana, go after your politician and you say, listen, you better get those files out or we're not going to vote for you, that's when your representatives will go against Trump. Because what can Trump do to you? If your base is saying, we want the files, we're not going to vote for you, Trump can't go to your base and say, oh, you suck. When your base really wants this thing and they say, get the files, and then you go fight for the files, and then Trump says, oh, you're a loser, they're not falling for that. So until these politicians feel like the base has their back, the files are not going to come out. If you want the files to come out, you need to go after the Republicans hard. You need to threaten them that you're going to vote them out of power. Any Republican politician that does anything to block the file release, we're voting you out. Any Republican politician that does not push with all their might to get these files released this week, not next month, this week, we're voting you out. Until you put that kind of pressure, it's not happening. We're never going to see the files. The predators will get away. They'll never see justice. Because unless these politicians feel threatened, they're not going to do shit. They're going to keep playing games and talking about, oh, this grand jury, this, and releasing fake files, and not fake files, but it's like redacted files or files that we already released before the binder scam, all this kind of stuff. And, this military thing is getting a lot of coverage. Let's release the military in all the blue states. Yeah, Trump is being authoritarian with the military. Oh, no one's talking about the Epstein stuff anymore. Great. Fork in the road. If you're an American conservative and you really care about the kids, you really care about these predators, I told you what to do. If you don't do it, that means you don't care. So stop lying to the rest of the country. Stop gaslighting us. Stop bullshitting us. We're not stupid. We've seen what you guys do when you really care about something. When you cared about, the election's being stolen, right? When that election being stolen thing was going on, you guys were in the streets. You guys were threatening politicians saying, we're going to vote you out. I don't see none of that energy right now. I don't see any of that energy right now. And because of that, that's how democracy works. The Republicans are looking at their base and they're like, okay, does the base care about these Epstein files? And they're looking and they see you guys, Epstein files. And they're like, okay, they don't care. Right? There's no teeth behind your chatter on social media. What action are you taking? Where are the protests? Where are the boycotts? Where are the petitions? Where are the floods of phone calls coming in from the base saying, we want these files out? It's not there. So, message received, you don't give a fuck. That's what the Republican Party is saying. These people don't give a fuck. They really don't care. They're just pretending to care. So all we need to do is give them just a little something so they don't feel guilty. So we'll pretend to like, here's some little files and this file and here's a file. What the file says. Epstein had an island and he used to have parties and stuff. Okay, see, we give you some files. Oh, you want more files? Here's some more files. Epstein had a jet, and on that jet he used to have massages, and there were underage girls on his jet. Oh my goodness. Ooh, see, we're releasing the files. That is what the American conservatives are communicating to their party. That's what they want. Bullshit. If you don't want the bullshit, you want the actual files, you want people brought to justice, then stop telling the Republican Party that you want bullshit and start telling them you want results. Not next month, now. And if you're not willing to do that, I'm sorry. Anyone knows me, I'm the least partisan person, right? I don't give a fuck about the American left-wing bullshit movement, the American right-wing movement. I'm not, my side is truth. My side is America, right? I think politics in this country is toxic. I am politically homeless. I am a political dissident. So I ain't caping for no tribe. But in the spirit of brutal honesty, I gotta say it, man. American conservatives are protecting child sex predators. You did the same thing with Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, we have enough evidence of this guy that is a very sick guy. And he won his election handily. So you guys didn't even care enough that guilty by association, because if you don't believe he did anything, the fact that he was friends with a convicted child sex trafficker who's in prison right now, the fact that he was friends with that, the fact that not even, like, if you really cared about this stuff, like, that would put a bad taste in your mouth. Like, I don't know if Matt Gaetz did anything, but this is who he was friends with. And then I'm hearing stories about him showing pictures of naked women in Congress and him dating really young girls. Like if you really cared about this stuff, there's no way he could win handily. He would barely win. At a minimum, if you guys cared about this stuff, you'd just be like, I don't know what the truth is, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like, his character. I don't like what I'm hearing about him. I don't like that he was friends with a child sex trafficker, but you guys didn't give a fuck. You guys came out in numbers to vote for this guy who potentially another child sex trafficker, right? And I believe, wasn't Andrew Tate another sex trafficker? Wasn't he lifted up as a conservative icon at some point? I remember there was a time where they posted something like, they were posting up like Kanye West and like Elon Musk and like all these people, like these are like icons of the conservative movement. More child sex trafficking people or child sex trafficking adjacent people, and it's just like whatever. So I don't know, man. I can't say anything but the truth, right? I know this is gonna offend people, but I don't give a fuck, man. I'm gonna say the truth, no matter who it offends. Man, Jock, I'll maybe put my glasses on because I can't see anything. Blind as a bat, and then I gotta get going. Fortunately, I'm remote tomorrow, so I don't have to. Otherwise, I could never do this live stream because my commute is bananas. All right, let's see what we got going. Just got GOP could never insult our intelligence, man. That's what they do, man. That's what they live for. They giveth and taketh away, right? Yeah, many voted Trump in order to get these answers. I agree. Good point. Like a lawyer telling a client to clam up at this time they believe they can survive this. MTG might really turn on them. I don't know what MTG is up to, man. I think we're seeing the birth of another sort of entities. Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and who's the other one? Whoever else I can't think of. I don't know. Maybe to some degree, Tucker Carlson, maybe. I think that some of these guys have gotten so big that they ended up being able to tap into something new where you're able to go rogue and still make your money. Like Candace Owens, I mean, she has went, I mean, at first, a lot of them, they pretend like, oh, we're going against Trump, but then they don't really. I mean, she actually legit has made a few videos where she kind of exposed Trump. So, I mean, all these people care about is money, right? So if doing that is working, getting the money, and their subscribers are down with it or whatever, then they're going to do it. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, I guess she sees that lane for herself as well, in this moment anyway, that she can pretend to be the one who is like independent or whatever. I don't know, man. I shouldn't waste, my time trying to analyze, these kind of freaks, but I don't know what she's doing, man. Relatively small number of, what happened? Whether it's Georgia politicians or Congressman Massey, these guys can do it without Trump. Most are afraid of the right. I hate every time I hear CNN talk about audience of one. Stop the bullshit, man. Like, who gives a fuck about Trump? Like, think about this. If the Republican base turns on Trump, you think anybody in the Republican Party is going to give a fuck about what Trump has to say? It's not about Trump, man. It's about the voters. It always was. And again, like I said, not in a good way. It's the fact that we are the ones who hold the cards. That's the thing about democracy, man. Democracy has an Achilles heel. It's like Superman with the kryptonite. The kryptonite of democracy is knowledge. Knowledge, like Ty Lopez. If you can convince people that democracy doesn't work and that they actually have no power, then it's almost like you've completely deflated all the power that they do have. Because in order for you to use the power of democracy, you have to believe in it, right? So when you have the young Turks telling you, oh, we don't really have a democracy, and what kind of democracy is this? And it's like, the arguments they make are just so stupid. Like, they talk about, an example they might say is, look at Bernie. Look what they did to Bernie. That's not how democracy works. Like, we don't have democracy. Like, people like Bernie, and then the Democratic Party just kicked him out. I always make these examples. It's extreme, but it's trying to get the point across. If 150 million people went hardcore Bernie bro, Bernie Sanders would have been the president. There's nothing the motherfucking Democratic Party can do that is any match in any way. I don't care how many billionaires they get donations from. None of that fucking matters when you have 150 million people saying, we want Bernie. Right? All them tricks with the CNN smearing him and whatever, that fucking shit doesn't matter. If you have 150 million people saying, we want fucking Bernie, and they show up at the polls and they vote fucking Bernie, Bernie Sanders is motherfucking president. That's it. Democracy is that simple. Numbers. Bernie Sanders didn't get the numbers, right? Yes, the Democrats, they were part of the problem and they did stuff, but there's only so much they can do. If our numbers are big enough, their games won't work. It just can't work. The only way that it works is if not enough of us are standing tall. If not enough of us standing tall, then it's like we have a powerful hand, but if we're not really playing that hand effectively, right? Like, you have a bunch, like, you're playing a card game and you have a bunch of high cards, right? And instead of using those cards, you keep using the smaller cards, right? And then the person you're playing with, they doing some tricks as well, and they kind of cheating and stuff, and then you say, well, he won because he's cheating. No! If you have the best hands, you got the aces, you got all that stuff. If you had the way better hands, but you just wasn't playing them, the reason you lost is not because the person was cheating, right? Unless they cheating, obviously, to have better hands than you. But if you have the better hands, like them doing little stuff and trying to distract you or whatever, yes, that helped them a little bit. But if you were using the cards that you had, none of that shit would have worked. Whatever the Democrats did trying to stop Bernie, that can't work against 150 million people. Now, I use that number just an extreme example to get the point across. I'm not saying you need 150 million people literally. I'm saying you need a massive amount of, I don't know what that number is, but it's got to be way more than the people that were in the Bernie camp, right? Democracy is so powerful, and we are so powerful, that it is my view, it doesn't even really matter so much who's in power. Do you realize, again, all these politicians care about is power and money. So even with the Republicans in power, which I think they are so corrupt, they're such a disgusting people. But if we had 150 million people in this country that were pushing the Republican Party hard on, like, healthcare and, housing costs, you would see a whole new Republican Party. Because what else choice do they have? If you got those kind of numbers that are pushing you hard and you ignore them, you're going to lose power. You can't have that amount of people that are saying do this and you just ignore them, and the next election you just like, oh, you're going to be fine. No, you're not going to be fine. Because these people, if you have those kind of numbers, that's the kind of numbers that are going to show up at the polls and they're going to vote you out. So it matters less who is in power than it matters who we are as the voters, because we're the ones in control. We are the ones in the driver's seat, right? But if we choose to put on cruise control and sit back and then, we're going to use that bullshit Tesla self-driving, and we're going to sit back and we're going to be on Twitter, Trump sucks, or, oh, Joe Biden sucks, right? Instead of turning off the cruise control and turning the wheel. You can't complain. I think one of my favorite phrases is, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. In America, we like to sit around waiting for a hero. Nobody's coming to save us, man. You should know that by now. Nobody's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. Stop talking about democracy doesn't work and the Democrats suck and Republicans suck. We suck. Start taking some accountability. Democracy is not automatic. It's self-service. If all you do is vote, you're wasting your... I've been saying this for years. If all you do is vote, you're wasting your time. A vote without a threat of consequences, of failure, is a wasted vote. Right? Your vote needs to mean something. Like if I'm a politician and you vote for me, and I see that you vote and you disengage, then I'm like, okay, you just gave me a blank check. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do because you don't really give a fuck. Yeah, I see you on Twitter saying stuff, but you're not really taking action. And the other party is doing some craziness. So next election, I know enough of you is gonna vote for me, so I'm good. Every once in a while, I do a little virtue signal or whatever, or I say, oh, look what all those crazy people are doing, right? We gotta fight against them. And then next election come, you guys show up and vote for me. If I don't feel afraid of losing an election, why the fuck am I gonna do anything that you guys want? Relatively small number of GOP voters whose top issue is Epstein. Right. Our Department of Distraction is very powerful. Absolutely. I think Epstein kept Clinton and a few others around as a big names to draw others in. After Lewinsky, I'd be surprised if he did it again, but who knows? TYT is the worst perpetrators in lowering standards for left-wing content. Man, holy shit. I'm gonna end on this. I gotta do a video with that Pam Bondi thing, because I gotta talk again. I'm not a partisan, man. I'm not a partisan. I'm not like fuck whatever left wing, whatever. I mean, I agree with a lot of the principles, whatever, but the movement is bullshit. But I gotta say it like it is, man. I gotta say it like it is. The Pam Bondi hearing today, I don't know if it was today, but I gotta do a video and I gotta put that on conservatives, man. I'm like, do you see what the fuck is going on? Like, I mean, this lady is literally sitting in a hearing on some like, hey, Pam Bondi, why is it that you're not in? This is not literally what she said, right? But this is the gist of how it went down. Why are you not looking into those suspicious activity reports regarding Epstein? Well, you sit here and trying to tell me about suspicious activity reports. Aren't you the one who years ago you did something wrong? And what about that thing? American conservatives voted for Trump, a lunatic, who I said, being a lunatic, he's going to have lunatics around him. And here we have this woman, top level position in our government, clearly acting. I mean, sometimes these guys are good at it, and you got to read between the lines. But when it's this obvious, and the American conservatives, they tolerate this. Like, the Republicans, again, are competitive in the next election, even after the people that they vote for are allowing a woman to be in a high-level position in government who gets up and insults conservatives. She gets up there and she says, not literally, but by her actions, that conservatives in America are dumb as fuck. And I know personally I'm not a good actor, but they're so dumb that I'm going to act anyway because I don't really need to be good because they'll just believe anything. Right? That's basically what her actions showed. Right? You ask her a question about something, and it's on some, let me find something else to pretend to be upset about. Why is it that the files have not been released and you said they were going to be released yesterday? That question, why would you ask me a question? And I noticed that all the questions that you're asking are actually about things that my phone's about to die, so I'm going to have to go. Anyway, guys, this is the Baby Channel. Baby in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Ciao. Conservatives, man. I would say wake the fuck up, but I think you guys are awake and you're seeing this happening, but for some reason you're not taking action. Explain it to me.